Sometimes the most powerful moments in rock history come from the most unexpected places. A hard rock band from Scotland deciding to cover a gentle country ballad. A song that had been gathering dust for over a decade suddenly becoming a global anthem. This is the story of how one sad song transformed four working-class friends from Dunfermline into international rock legends, and how their version of Love Hurts became one of the greatest power ballads ever recorded. Nazareth formed in December 1968 in Dunfermline, Scotland, from the remaining members of semi-professional local group The Shadettes, formed in 1961, by vocalist Dan McCafferty, guitarist Manny Charlton, bassist Pete Agnew, and drummer Daryl Sweet. They were inspired by the Beatles and the Rolling Stones. The story begins long before any of them imagined stadium crowds singing along to their music. Singer Dan McCafferty and Pete Agnew met on their very first day at school, aged 5. Asked to share a double desk, they became best friends from that moment on. It's one of those friendships that would shape not just their lives, but the sound of rock music itself. This friendship would prove to be the foundation of everything that followed. In a music industry notorious for ego clashes and creative differences, McCafferty and Agnew's bond provided the stability that allowed Nazareth to weather the storms of the music business for over 4 decades. Throughout the mid-60s, these young men were cutting their teeth in the Scottish music scene. In the mid-60s, the band made up of McCafferty, Agnew, Manny Charlton, guitar, and Daryl Sweet, drums, were in a covers band called The Shadettes. Like countless other aspiring musicians of that era, they were learning their craft by playing the hits of the day, absorbing the sounds that would eventually influence their own musical direction. The Scottish music scene of the 1960s was vibrant but challenging. For musicians from smaller towns like Dunfermline, opportunities were limited, requiring long drives to reach venues where they could perform. These experiences were crucial in developing their stage presence and musical chemistry. Under the influence of artists such as Little Richard, Elvis Presley, Chuck Berry, and Otis Redding, Dan McCafferty became one of the founding members of Nazareth in 1968. This wasn't just another band forming in the post-Beatles explosion. This was a group of friends who had grown up together, shared the same musical dreams, and possessed that rare chemistry that can't be manufactured. Love is like a cloud. The late 60s and early 70s were challenging times for British rock bands trying to establish themselves. While the music scene was exploding with creativity, it was also incredibly competitive. Nazareth spent years touring, recording, and slowly building their reputation. In 1973, the band gained fame in the UK with their third album, Reimagining. The following year, they released Loud and Proud. These albums showed a band finding their voice, developing the hard rock sound that would become their trademark. Dan McCafferty's distinctive, gravelly vocals were becoming their signature. But they were still searching for that one song that would break them through to international success. The early 70s were a time of constant touring for Nazareth. They played everywhere they could get a booking, learning how to connect with audiences and deliver their songs with maximum emotional impact. The band had been together for 7 years by 1975, and while they had achieved some success in the UK, they were still relatively unknown in the crucial American market. They needed something special, something that would capture the attention of radio programmers and music fans across the Atlantic. Originally written by Boudleaux Bryant and popularized by the Everly Brothers in the 1960s, Nazareth's rendition, released in 1975, transformed the song into a soulful and hard-driving anthem that resonated with a new generation of listeners. The song was Love Hurts, and it seemed like an unlikely candidate for rock stardom. The original version by the Everly Brothers had been a gentle country ballad, filled with the kind of twangy melancholy that characterized much of their work. It was beautiful in its own way, but hardly the kind of material you'd expect a hard rock band to tackle. Yet sometimes the most transformative musical moments come from the most unexpected places. The song's history before Nazareth is worth exploring. Written by Boudleaux Bryant in 1960, it was first recorded by the Everly Brothers, who gave it their characteristic close harmony treatment. The song had been covered by various artists over the years, but none had achieved significant commercial success with it. It was, in many ways, a forgotten gem waiting for the right interpretation. The way to make the track their own was to remove it from its country roots and perform it as a slow-burning power ballad. This wasn't just a simple cover version. It was a complete reimagining of the song's emotional landscape. Where the Everly Brothers had delivered tender vulnerability, Nazareth brought raw, emotional power. The transformation was remarkable. The lyrics of the song were changed for Nazareth's 1975 album, where the original line, "Love is like a stove, it burns you when it's hot,"
Love is like a stove, burns you when it's hot,
was changed to "Love is like a flame, it burns you when it's hot."
Love is like a flame, it burns you when it's hot.
Even these small lyrical modifications helped reshape the song's imagery, making it more universal and emotionally resonant. Hair of the Dog was Nazareth's first big hit album, aside from the minor success of Razamanas, including classics such as the title track, a version of the Everly Brothers' Love Hurts, which replaced the original Guilty on the US version, Beggar's Day, and Please Don't Judge Me. The Hair of the Dog album represented a turning point not just for Nazareth, but for how rock ballads could be conceived and executed. The album showcased a band that had found their creative stride, but it was their version of Love Hurts that would become their calling card. The album's success was built on more than just Love Hurts. The title track, Hair of the Dog, showcased their ability to create powerful, anthemic rock songs. Beggar's Day demonstrated their songwriting capabilities, while Please Don't Judge Me showed their more introspective side. But it was Love Hurts that tied everything together, proving that emotional vulnerability could coexist with musical power. Nazareth are a Scottish hard rock band that achieved international success, including in the United States, with their 1975 album Hair of the Dog, which featured their hits Hair of the Dog and a cover of the ballad Love Hurts. This was the breakthrough they had been working toward for 7 years. The power of their version lay in its authenticity. Dan McCafferty's weathered, emotional delivery transformed what had been a country lament into something far more universal. His voice carried the weight of experience, the kind of hard-won wisdom that comes from years of struggle and perseverance. Success rarely happens overnight, and Love Hurts was no exception. Surprisingly, it tanked, but in April 1975 it became a hit in South Africa, prompting their label, A&M, to release it in America. It took a while, but radio stations in Texas started playing the song, and others around the country gradually followed suit. This pattern of gradual acceptance reflects something important about how music spreads and finds its audience. The song didn't explode onto the charts immediately. Instead, it built momentum slowly, finding its way into the hearts of listeners, one radio station at a time. The South African connection is particularly interesting and reflects the global nature of the music industry even in the 1970s. South African radio DJs and music fans recognized something in Nazareth's version that domestic audiences had initially missed. Their enthusiasm provided the momentum that eventually carried the song to international success. The Texas connection is particularly interesting, as it suggests that American audiences were ready for this harder, more emotionally direct version of the song. Radio programmers and listeners recognized something in Nazareth's version that spoke to a different kind of emotional experience than the original. The gradual spread of the song's popularity also demonstrates the importance of radio in the 1970s music industry. Without the internet or social media, songs had to build their audience station by station, region by region. The fact that Love Hurts succeeded in this environment speaks to its genuine emotional appeal. The song peaked at #1 in Canada and became a massive international hit, transforming Nazareth from a regional UK band into global rock stars. The success opened doors that had been closed to them for years, establishing them as a major force in the international rock scene. Dan McCafferty's contribution to this transformation cannot be overstated. William Daniel Dan McCafferty, born 14 October 1946, Dunfermline, Scotland, is a Scottish vocalist, best known as the lead singer for the Scottish hard rock band Nazareth from its founding in 1968 to his retirement from touring with the band in 2013. His nearly 5-decade career with the band speaks to both his dedication and his irreplaceable role in their sound. His voice on Love Hurts was unlike anything else on the radio at the time. While other singers might have approached the song with technical precision or smooth delivery, McCafferty brought something raw and more emotionally honest. His weathered vocal style perfectly matched the song's themes of heartbreak and disillusionment. McCafferty's vocal approach was influenced by his Scottish heritage and working-class background. There was nothing polished or artificial about his delivery. It came from a place of genuine emotion and experience. This authenticity resonated with listeners who were tired of overly produced vocals. When reflecting on the song years later, McCafferty said, "Of course, when I hear it now, it's probably one of the best rock ballads of all time, and definitely the vocal is in the top 3. This wasn't false modesty. It was an acknowledgement of how something special had been captured in that recording session." The success of Love Hurts changed the landscape for rock ballads in the 70s. The big international bestseller was recorded by the group Nazareth in 1975, setting a new standard for what a rock ballad could achieve. Other versions of the song have been released by Jim Capaldi, Cher, Emmylou Harris and Graham Parsons, Don McLean, Rod Stewart, Joan Jett, Sinead O'Connor, and Pat Boone. This extensive list of artists who later covered the song demonstrates its enduring appeal across genres and generations. From country artists like Emmylou Harris to rock stars like Joan Jett, musicians recognized that Nazareth had unlocked something universal in the song. Each subsequent version was measured against Nazareth's powerful interpretation, which had become the definitive rock version.
Love is like a flame, it burns you when it's hot.
The transformation also influenced how other bands approached cover versions. Rather than simply replicating successful songs, artists began to understand that the most powerful covers completely reimagined the original material for a new context and audience. This approach would become a template for future rock ballads. The impact extended beyond just cover versions. Record labels began to recognize that power ballads could be commercial goldmines, leading to a wave of similar songs throughout the late 70s and 80s. Bands like Foreigner, Joni, and later Bon Jovi would perfect the formula that Nazareth had helped establish with Love Hurts. There's something particularly fitting about a Scottish band achieving international success with a song about heartbreak and resilience. Scotland has always produced musicians who understand the emotional depths of human experience, and Nazareth's version of Love Hurts tapped into that tradition. The Scottish musical tradition has always embraced emotional honesty and directness, qualities that are evident in Nazareth's approach to Love Hurts. McCafferty fronted the Doughty Dunfermline Hard Rockers from their formation in 1968 right up to his retirement from gigging in 2013, when he was forced to step back due to health issues. The word Doughty perfectly captures something essential about both McCafferty and the band. They were tough, resilient, and determined to succeed despite the odds. The fact that these four friends from a small Scottish town could transform a country ballad into a global rock anthem speaks to the power of friendship, persistence, and shared musical vision. Their success opened doors for other Scottish rock bands and helped establish Scotland as a significant force in international rock music. The band's Scottish identity remained important throughout their career. Even as they achieved international success, they never forgot their roots or abandoned the working-class values that had shaped their music. They have continued to record and tour internationally for more than 50 years. This longevity is remarkable in an industry known for its fickleness and short attention spans. The foundation built by Love Hurts and the Hair of the Dog album sustained them through decades of changing musical fashions. The song's influence extends far beyond Nazareth's own catalog. It demonstrated that rock bands could successfully tackle ballads without losing their edge, that emotional vulnerability could coexist with musical power, and that the best covers often bear little resemblance to their source material. The template established by Love Hurts, the quiet beginning, the gradual build, the explosive climax, became a formula that countless rock bands would follow. From Foreigner's I Want to Know What Love Is to Bon Jovi's Wanted Dead or Alive, the influence of Nazareth's arrangement can be heard throughout rock music. Nazareth's version was used in an advertisement for Essurance and also in a series of other commercial applications, showing how the song has become embedded in popular culture. When advertisers want to evoke feelings of nostalgia, heartbreak, or emotional intensity, they often turn to this version of Love Hurts. The song's continued relevance speaks to its fundamental emotional truth. The themes of love, loss, and resilience that McCafferty expressed so powerfully remain as relevant today as they were in 1975. New generations of listeners continue to discover the song and connect with its message. Dan McCafferty died in 2022 at age 76, marking the end of an era for both Nazareth and rock music in general. His passing reminded fans and fellow musicians of the unique voice that had made Love Hurts such a transformative moment in rock history. The tributes that poured in following McCafferty's death demonstrated the lasting impact of his work. Musicians from across the rock spectrum acknowledged his influence on their own careers, with many specifically mentioning Love Hurts as a song that had shaped their understanding of what rock music could achieve emotionally. The song remains a testament to the power of interpretation and the importance of taking creative risks. When Nazareth decided to record Love Hurts, they couldn't have known it would become their signature song and transform their entire career. They simply trusted their instincts and their ability to make something old feel completely new. McCafferty's vocal performance on Love Hurts will likely be remembered as one of the great rock vocal performances of all time, demonstrating that emotional authenticity was more important than technical perfection. The story of Nazareth and Love Hurts reminds us that sometimes the most profound artistic statements come from unexpected places. A Scottish hard rock band covering a country ballad shouldn't have worked, but it did, spectacularly. It worked because they brought their own experiences, their own emotional truth, and their own musical vision to the material. The song's enduring popularity across generations suggests that certain emotional experiences are universal. The pain of love, the resilience required to survive heartbreak, and the hope that keeps us opening our hearts again and again. These themes speak to something fundamental in the human experience. The transformation of Love Hurts from a forgotten country ballad to a rock anthem also demonstrates the power of artistic interpretation. The same lyrics and basic melody took on completely different meanings when filtered through Nazareth's musical and emotional perspective. This shows how art can be continually reborn through new interpretations. The success of the song also validates the importance of taking creative risks. In an industry that often rewards playing it safe, Nazareth's decision to radically reimagine a country ballad as a rock anthem was bold and potentially career-threatening. That it succeeded so spectacularly encourages other artists to trust their instincts and take similar risks. In the end, Love Hurts transformed Nazareth from a struggling Scottish rock band into international legends. But more importantly, it gave voice to countless listeners who recognized their own emotional experiences in Dan McCafferty's powerful delivery. That connection between artist and audience, that moment of mutual recognition and understanding, is what great music is all about.
Love is like a flame, it burns you away.
The song serves as a reminder that the most powerful music often comes from places of vulnerability and honesty. McCafferty's weathered, emotional delivery spoke to listeners because it came from a place of genuine experience. In an age of increasingly sophisticated production techniques and marketing strategies, the raw, emotional truth of Love Hurts remains as compelling as ever. The story of Nazareth and Love Hurts shows us that the most unexpected musical choices can lead to the most extraordinary results. It demonstrates the power of friendship, persistence, and creative courage in the face of an often unforgiving industry. If you enjoyed learning about this transformation from country ballad to rock anthem, please like this video and subscribe to our channel for more stories about the songs that shaped rock history. What other unlikely covers do you think transformed artists' careers? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and let's keep the conversation about music's most surprising success stories alive. Remember, in a world of increasingly predictable music, it's the artists who dare to take risks and trust their instincts who create the moments that truly matter.